So as per everyone's request, I am making a second part to the getting kicked out of dealerships video. And again, I kind of just did it more for like a humor reason. A lot of people obviously caught on to that. And I know that a lot of people were obviously empathetic with me where they're like, yeah, I don't understand why dealerships do this. And so with all that being said, we'll continue into these dealership stories. And by the way, before I get into the video, if you guys want me to make like another series where I talk about like stuff that happened when I was a salesperson, then let me know. I'd be more than happy to do that because again, I like doing these videos because of entertainment purposes. Like all my videos are pretty serious with the reviews and everything, so it's more fun to talk about like stuff that, even though it's a little bit negative, it's stuff that I can laugh at nowadays. And so yeah, with all that being said, let's get into part 2 of getting kicked out of dealerships. So now the first story today isn't really that crazy, but it was still a pretty interesting experience, and it actually happened with one of my friends, which kind of made it even more hilarious because he had heard me talk about like getting kicked out of dealerships before, but he never experienced it, and then he was there to like fully experience it. So what was happening is a particular dealership got like a special edition car, super low production number, all that kind of stuff. And I obviously asked him, I was like, hey, can I review this car? And the dealership is like, yeah, for sure, come in. Well, here's a couple things that led up to this happening. So first off, my Raptor was in the shop because it was getting wrapped at that time. And because of that, I didn't have any way to get there. I didn't have another car at that time. I had only had the Raptor. I didn't have the Camaro yet. And that was obviously way before I got the Supra. Well, because the Raptor was in the shop getting wrapped, I didn't have a car. I needed a ride. So I got a ride from my friend. And he didn't have like a horrible car or anything like that. But his car definitely was like not the nicest car, okay? It was an older car, and it definitely like had some body damage and all that on it. And so it wasn't a nice looking car. So we pull up to the dealership in this not so nice looking car, right? Because I didn't have my Raptor at the time, to review this special edition car. So I go in and get the keys, right? They give the keys to me, and I start reviewing the car like normal. Everything is completely fine. Nothing crazy's happened up to this point. And so I start doing my video and do the whole walk around. So I get that whole part of the video done. No problem at all. Like no one's come out. Everything's completely fine. I get my GoPro set up, and this was at the time where I was seeing if I wanted to do GoPro views outside of the car. I went away from that because I broke too many GoPros. So if you're wondering why I don't have like exterior shots or like exhaust clips on the cars while they're driving, it's because I've lost GoPros to that. So anyways, I set up a GoPro on the back of the car, and then I set up one on the side so you can see like the wheel view, and then I set up one, I think that it was like facing me, or I think I did POV at the time. I can't remember, one or the other. Anyways, so I have all my GoPros set up, and we go off and set off in the car, and everything's fine. I'm doing the driving portion of the review, and I get through like the whole review of the car. And then right as I'm about to end the video, and I don't think this was perceived in the video because I don't think like I'm pretty stoic, so I don't like, even though something happens, I don't have like a huge reaction to it. But like I get a call on my phone, and I almost never get calls when I'm reviewing cars. So the video stops, I get done with the video, and I get this call, and the call was the person that gave me the keys, and they go, you need to bring the car back right now. Like, you need to bring this car back right now. I wasn't supposed to let you drive it, this and that, and I'm in big trouble, like all this. And it starts freaking out. So I instantly told him, I was like, hey, don't worry, I just took it, because most of my reviews, I only take it like in a circle around the dealership. I maybe put like 1 or 2 miles on the car, not a whole lot, because again, I don't want to put myself at risk to get in a car accident. Not me, but other people. I just don't trust other people. And on top of that, I don't want to put a ton of miles on these new cars, because I understand there's a pretty high chance that when someone watches one of my videos, they might go and buy that car that I film, and I don't want them to be like, wow, why has this car been rallied or stuff like that. So that's why I don't do crazy stuff with the cars in my videos. But so again, super freaked out. So I was like, hey, don't worry, I'm just around the corner. I'll be back in like 2 minutes. So I bring the car back up, and I go up and give him the keys, and he was like kind of calmed down at that point. I could still tell he was on edge, and he's like, yeah, we weren't supposed to let you drive that special edition, this and that. And I was thankful that I already got the driving portion done, so like I have a legit video on the car. But yeah, he was like, yeah, the manager's freaked out and this and that. Why are we letting these kids drive the car and all that? And then it kind of came out that they thought that I was just some random person that had pulled up in this not so nice car and was given keys to go drive the special edition car. And so then when I went over and talked to them, and then they kind of like cooled off and everything. But after that point, I kind of took a break from filming with that store for a little bit of time just to kind of let things cool off. And then I never had any issues past that. So I didn't like fully get kicked out that time. But definitely like, if I had taken the car any further distance, or if I had not just, like, I was literally just around the corner, I think that if I wasn't, like, just around the corner where I had just basically, boom, right back to the dealership in, like, less than 2 minutes, I think that I would have, like, lost my filming privileges with that store just because that was a weird situation. And again, thank goodness nothing bad happened, but that was definitely a weird one. So this next story is a little bit of a more interesting one because it kind of has to do with like current circumstances. Now this one is, I'm going to say straight up, this one's not really getting kicked out of a dealership. This is just getting ghosted by a dealership is like a better way to put it. So basically I started filming with this dealership and I did quite a few videos with them, and all the videos did really well. Like, I was really excited about filming with them because like I've always wanted to film these types of vehicles, and so I start filming the vehicles and the videos start getting a ton of views, and so I'm like, great, this is good for both of us. I get a ton of views, so obviously I get the monetary gain from YouTube, and this is your dealership getting out to a ton of people, and I'm like, it's a win-win for both situations. And things continue like this. However, things kind of started to go a little bit south because of literally world events. And this is the part where I said this isn't really getting kicked out, but this is world events literally preventing me from being able to film at a dealership. So things have happened in the US where there's been, and I've got to be really careful about how I talk about this because I, one, don't want to offend anyone, and two, I don't want my video to get demonetized. So I gotta be really careful. Events have happened in the US where there's been certain changes socially, is the best way for me to put it. And because of these social changes, is the best way, is what I'm going to call it, people have decided to go out and they have decided to destroy other people's property. Well, this dealership that I've had been filming at had that happened. And it was a massive amount. I don't know the exact figure, but with what I was told, I would assume that it was over $1 million in damages were caused to this dealership, which is horrible. And so that event happened, right? That event happened. The dealership had a ton of property damaged. So it's like, I couldn't film there anymore because they had all this property damaged. And this, again, these events were happening really close to the dealership. So there wasn't any way that I was able to go down there. And then on top of that, things in this particular area kind of escalated with the coronavirus, which at least I can say coronavirus on YouTube now, where there was like a higher infection rate. And so it's like I had these two things happen that were literally simultaneous. And so I had to like cease all filming with the dealership because of that, which sucked. And so then it was like mutual. It was like, hey, I'm not going to film anymore because things are escalating from that standpoint. And then also they're escalating from that standpoint. And so then I obviously took several months off from filming from there, and again, it was mutual. Now here's the part that kind of got a little bit weird. Things cooled off from the social side of things, and then they also cooled off from the pandemic side of things. And so then I reached out and I was like, hey, I'm ready to start filming, and I never got a response. So then I reached out again and I was like, hey, these videos, by the way, are doing really good. I'm like, I look forward to filming more videos so that we can get things rolling again. And still no response. And so it was one of those situations where I was just like, okay, I'm just going to take it as what it is. Obviously, don't want me to do what I do anymore. And it's just really weird. Like, out of all the experiences that I've had in the past where it's been like just super blunt, like the last video where it was like, hey, I don't want you to film here anymore, or hey, I want you to pay me for your videos, that was super blunt, like them telling me. This was definitely a weird one where it was like, I'm actively reaching out and nothing bad has happened from our end. It was just outside events, and it was definitely weird to me. And so I to this day, I still haven't heard anything back, and I'm kind of like in this weird like purgatory state where I'm like, am I ever going to go film at that dealership again, or is it just kind of like not a thing anymore? And so I'm kind of waiting, and I'm going to wait for things to just cool off even more with the pandemic situation, which here in Utah, it's actually pretty fine. I think that most areas, there's a few areas where they've spiked with cases, but for the most part, most areas in Utah are in the green, where everything's pretty much in decline. So I'm going to wait a little bit longer, reach out again, but it was weird. It's definitely weird. Like, I could imagine if my videos weren't doing good and if people weren't seeing them, then it would be fine. But like almost every single video that I filmed, not every single one, but most of them had tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of views on them. So it was like a ton of just, you know, people looking at vehicles at this dealership. So definitely, again, weird. Now, that is going to sum things up for today's video on getting kicked out of a dealership part 2. And again, sorry that these videos weren't as extreme. That's why I did the crazier videos in the first iteration of this, is those were the ones that were a little bit more extreme. But these ones were still a little bit weird. And again, I expect something like this to continue to happen in the future, just these little bit of weird things. The ghosting one, I still can't explain it. It's so weird to me, like... And I guess this is like the last talking point I want to talk about. It is so weird to me, the difference in procedure with dealerships. Like, there are some dealerships that reach out to me and they are like, please come film our vehicles. Please come film our vehicles. Like, they're all about it. And then there's other dealerships where I feel like I have to beg them to film their vehicles. And it's just weird, like, the dynamics of it. I would think that everyone would want me to do what I do, because not only am I the only person in Utah that really does this at the scale that I do it, from the review side, right? There's other YouTubers here in Utah that are bigger than my channel, but they don't really do reviews. Not only that, but on the YouTube side of things, even though my channel isn't massive from a subscriber standpoint, I'm one of the bigger review channels for a view standpoint. If you guys don't know, the biggest review channel on YouTube, Doug DeMuro, he gets anywhere from 20 million to 30 million views a month, which is astronomical, way out there. But most review channels, even the bigger ones that you guys see, are anywhere from 500,000 views a month to 7 million views a month. I'm right in the middle. I'm at about 2.5 million views a month on my channel. So I'm like in right where I should be for a review channel. So it's always kind of weird to me when dealerships are not like all about it. So that's that. Again, if you're stopping for the first time, please subscribe. Comment down below what you think. And again, I am not going to wear this shirt anymore because it literally makes me like, it makes me look like I have man boobs. I know that's weird to say, but like, I promise I don't. It's just this shirt.